Hey everybody, Dawn Kendrick here with some good news. The good news is that you're only going to hear good news here. I am a repurposed news reporter, and I am finally doing the stories that have been burning in my heart for so long. They're stories that uplift, encourage, and inspire, and they are real, and they're raw, and they're vulnerable. They're the good stuff stories, and we see it over and over again that through it all, through the middle of our biggest challenges, together we can, together we will. Let's go see the good and be the good. On your mark, get set, let's go. Hey, good stuff family. Good morning. Welcome to Friday. Welcome to the best part of waking up is waking up. We want to remind you that these Friday chats that we have with you, especially starting today, it's episode 1 of season 2. These chats are designed to be more casual, and they're designed to promote the stories that we drop every Monday that are joy through the journey stories. And so to that end, if I could take care of some business off the top, to ask if you're watching this on YouTube, and even if you're not, if you're willing to go there, find the Good Stuff family and click subscribe. We would be so happy and grateful. As well as on Facebook, it's about sharing. Invite all your friends to the page if you would. Mindy Lee, always beating that instruction in. And it's true that that's how we end up getting these stories told the way they deserve to be told to the people who we think will benefit from hearing them. So to that end, thank you for joining us today. We're going to start off by talking about Donovan Laird, who we met just days ago, and he will be the Joy Through the Journey podcast and video stream that drops Monday at noon Eastern. And we found out about him by reading an article about him. It feels ridiculous to call him a garbage man or a trash man, but this is what we say. What do you say about the person who makes your trash disappear? It turns out like he's this fantastic guy, and it got us thinking. Like, I took my trash to the curb Wednesday and didn't think for a second who was taking it until I met Donovan. And he's good stuff. And the reason we read about him is because he was profiled. We're coming to you from mid-Missouri today in a local newspaper article because he won a national competition put on by Republic Services, who he works for. I think it's the 4th year they've done this. Big deal in Arizona. It's a whole, almost like a NASCAR race. They have drone footage, and it's who can maneuver these trucks best. And it was his first time there, and he won. He won the side loader competition. When we met with him Wednesday, he was doing a front loader. You learned something just like I did. Who knew? So I wanted to introduce you to him. Just a little tease, as we used to say in the biz, because the whole story again drops on Monday at noon Eastern time. And so here is just a little clip. I'm going to show you the piece that producer Travi put together yesterday, if I can find it. Here's his ceremony. Oh, here we go. Okay, ready? On your marks, get set, go. Here we go. First one, no, second one. Okay, here we go.
I'm Donovan Laird from Central Missouri, working to see the good, be the good. On your mark, get set, let's go!
So is there any reason why, if you had any doubt why we love him? We might have told him to say that, but we didn't tell him to have all that passion. And then this is why we love him, because here he is, humble. You know, they gave him $5,000, 5 days off work, and he loves his job so much. He said he couldn't wait to here, let's let you hear. After we watched him drag trash cans up to the homes of people with disabilities and the elderly. Watch, this is what he had to say about being back.
So Arizona was a fantastic, amazing experience, but it is good to be back home in my natural environment. Been doing this for a long time. I got people on my route I like to see, like to talk to, every week. Chit chat, catch up, tell them what's going on, let them know how Arizona went. And so yeah, it's good to be back into my element.
humble, humble. And that's why I said we should start a hug, or at the very least, introduce yourself to your trash man. His boss said he's like a crock pot employee. He comes in, he knows he can just give him, he's been there 11 years. You hand it off to Donovan, and he does it because he cares about his job. And then, as always, the best good stuff stories have a story within the story. Not to give too much away, but grandma, a Nan, they call him Nan, her Nan, Kathy, 78 years young, the same age my mom was when she passed away 2 weeks ago yesterday. She is like sunshine personified. I knew it. I knew it when I talked to her on the phone. And when you see her, she is a story in and of herself. And we fell in love with her. Take a listen to our new friend, Nan. Everyone needs a Nan, Kathy.
You know, we're from Perry, Missouri, up north, but always, yeah, to give them, just to say thank you for what you do, because I mean, what would we do without our trash man, you know? And it goes for the UPS drivers too. Everybody that helps us out, be thankful, be grateful. And really in life, if you can just be grateful, I write something I'm grateful for every day. This is going on my notepad tonight. I have a book of them. Gratefulness will bring happiness. It will bring the happiness out into your life that you just can't even imagine. Just be grateful. Find that there's many things every day to be grateful for. But I'm
not surprised at all that there is a Nan like you behind a guy like this.
He's special.
Yep, she's great, and I appreciate the prayers, and thanks for pushing me to the front.
Pray hard.
Oh, hang on.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, from the Laird tree.
Pray hard. God listens.
I mean, is she speaking our language or what? Gratitude. It's true. Like, gratitude fixes. It's so easy. It's one of the few things we can actually choose, and it fixes so many things. It fixes so many things. So I'm pledging that we all pledge to be grateful for the people who make our trash disappear. And I'm intrigued by the stories behind the story, because there's another one coming up about Donovan's dad. Woo, it's huge. I couldn't even believe it. So huge props to producer Travi, A, for finding the story, B, for setting it up, and C, for cutting that footage yesterday so we could bring you that little preview. So before we move off of Donovan Laird, again, national competition, you'll see more. We've got footage from the ceremony. Oh, and on cue, there's producer Travi. Good morning.
It's co-host Travi.
Oh, right.
Where do you want me? Do you want me over here?
Your paycheck doesn't reflect that. No, I think
there's double. You told me you were going to double it recently.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just
how's this?
I don't recall that conversation. Let's show quickly, because all the time I'm talking about him, guess what? We didn't show you in, we have some pictures too, because here's the thing. He has this beautiful wife who's his high school sweetheart. He's got kids. Let's see, they're up here, who are kind of following in his footstep, riding ATVs. Nan actually taught him. She was an over-the-road truck driver. Love that. Nan. And she said he was driving bulldozers before he had a license because of Nan. Like, I love this family. I love them. And Republic Services. I mean, they've been fantastic with us, from the top level in Vegas, from the PR people to Curtis, his boss, who you'll meet in there.
We're in Jefferson City, and so is Donovan. That's where he drives his route. But we had to email Las Vegas in order to contact Donovan. So we emailed media headquarters in Las Vegas, Jeremy
Walker
and Walters. And
Walter.
They got
we're like this.
And what's his name again? And they got back to us and said, yeah, here's his schedule. Here's his phone number. And we took it from there. Yeah,
they were great. So again, gratitude. You know what we're grateful for? We're grateful for good people we found in this story.
You know what else we take for granted on the,
while you talk, I'm going to show some pictures of him.
On the garbage collector thing is his supervisor was on, and he said our number one priority is safety. And you don't think of, at least I don't think of safety necessarily with the garbage trucks, but he said it can be dangerous. And our number one priority is to make sure our drivers get home safely every night.
Yes. And you could tell that they think of them like family. I mean, you'll see on Monday again at noon Eastern on the Good Stuff Family streams and podcasts, anywhere you find podcasts, you're going to see this was an elaborate production. They had drones. It was every bit the coverage you would have for like a NASCAR race. And the local newspaper reporter here said that he wrote that he has the same kind of adrenaline when he's trying to park these huge trash trucks within inches of the cones or whatever, with a quarter inch, that he has the same adrenaline as a pro athlete at a buzzer beating shot or something. And so who knew? Like I never appreciated them for that
You have
kind of a
some-
skill.
Show some of the shots from the
Yes.
competition.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
the actual award.
Okay, this thing it was so well produced. It was in Phoenix. They brought drivers from all over the country to compete in these things and drive those huge trucks in some kind of like competition where you have to not bump into anything. Okay, imagine doing that. And so
Oh my
he
gosh,
was
I
the
can't parallel
national,
park my own
the
car.
nationwide winner. And this thing, I mean, this company is so cool that they would have this much fun with their drivers, who probably don't get a whole lot of love and appreciation in their life,
He does from his wife, Lauren,
in their
there.
everyday trash collecting. So
Mhm.
this thing, from the sound of it, was like a monster truck show. I mean, it's this huge outdoor event with PAs.
Look how big
PA
that thing
announcers.
is.
Yeah, imagine driving that in a race. PA announcers, cameras all over, drones taking aerial footage, cameras and mics inside the cabs, like the way they broadcast a NASCAR race. I mean, how fun is that?
And that was fascinating and what drew us to him. But what turns out, this family is the best Good Stuff story.
Yeah, there's a human behind it all.
Here's his $5,000. That's really why we want to be his friend.
Right.
Oh, was that my outside voice? Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. So there we go. You can see the whole story at noon on Monday. If you haven't figured that out yet, I can't say it enough. That's when this story will drop, anywhere you get podcasts or
noon,
here.
and it's noon Eastern.
Eastern,
Yeah.
exactly.
So really what the story was all about, Donnie doesn't know this, but I'm trying to compete to see if we can come up with better Missouri stories than we have Cleveland stories over the years. So we have a little Missouri-Cleveland rivalry going, but it will be very tough.
We have tons. We've already done a few from mid-Missouri. We have some North Carolina ones. So that's another thing we need to mention in the business part of this, is that we have sponsors who believe in what we're doing. So if you go to thegoodstufffamily.com, you will find a link for sponsors, which are really partners, to help us continue to be able to tell all these stories.
And remember, part of what we're trying to do here is grow the Good Stuff family. So that means geographically we want to grow too. And because everything is online based, we can do this from anywhere in the country and anywhere in the world. So if you know of good stories out there, people that we should know and people Dawn should interview, doesn't matter where they live, we would love to broaden the reach. Am I right on that?
That's spot on.
Yeah.
And now the Laird family is part of the family tree, whether they want it to be or not.
Right.
And we said, welcome. And they're like, okay.
They'll be on the mailing list.
Love them. They're perfect. So I'm going to take a look at the comments quickly. Here's our Kelly Ann and Rich Smith. Yep. And Jan and Jackie. These people, when I talk about people who believe in what we're doing, they do. And I realize there are more people watching than have commented. So if you are new and you're watching, just give us a shout out, maybe where you're from. But there were some other things that we wanted to cover today, and we want to get your opinion on, because it's Lent, and typically growing up, we would give up something. For me, pop or coffee was so hard. And we saw this documentary, Travi did, about juicing. Tell what your takeaway was. That he thinks that we should do this. And I agree, but it's going to be so hard. Giving up the pop and the coffee for vegetables in a blender.
We watched this documentary. It was on Prime Video, and it's called Hungry for Change. And I only
and I'm hungry for a donut.
Right.
Sorry.
And I
just talking about it.
I just had a slice of banana bread that your friend Sherry made, by the way, with butter on top. And I put it in the microwave while Nan Kathy was talking, so you all wouldn't hear it.
I heard that.
But
high production facility.
So anyway, one of my close friends from college I lived in the dorm with was featured in this show. So I thought, I want to watch it just to see him. He was interviewed. He's one of the experts that were interviewed in the show. So it ended up being very, very compelling, and talking about eating like a heavily plant-based diet, not necessarily vegetarian, but just how the science behind how your body craves all that natural food.
And it makes sense.
And it wants all that. And so anyway, yeah. So we
like in substituting. Look, it makes me, I can't even talk thinking about it. Substituting chia seed pudding, which is actually pretty good. I've had that from my friend Gina Salvatore for the donut. Like just a different mindset. So I thought, you know what? This is a perfect time to do it. Lent, to die to self, is kind of the whole thing to build up to Easter, to the perfect gift of the resurrection. So we're going to try it. We're going to go on it. You have some Amazon points.
Yeah, we need a food processor, or what do we need? A blender?
I don't know.
Whatever that thing.
I imagine we need vegetables.
It has the tube in the top, and people are stuffing the vegetables down in it like a.
It might be Vitamix.
Like a
Cleveland based.
Like a trash compactor, Yeah, like a Vitamix machine.
Yeah,
I saw one of those.
Or we could probably just get a blender. I'm already thinking, well, it's probably too expensive. We should probably start later. But no, we're gonna do it.
Like in Fargo when he puts his buddy in the wood chipper. It's like that. They push the vegetables down in there. Except this is for good.
A moment of silence for the celery.
And for the
So do you have any tips, y'all?
For the co-murder suspect who got shoved into the wood chipper.
What are y'all? I haven't seen it. Too much violence.
That's in the 90s.
What are you all juicing, if anything? If you would weigh in the comments. But that also had me thinking about this morning. We say we're honest and vulnerable. I woke up this morning a little anxious from my mom passed away 2 weeks ago, and there's always all the support and stuff, but the finality of not being able to call like when you thought you could, and I just had all these downloads. It felt like we call them downloads from up above, thanks to our friend Noble Starby, the fourth. There's a fifth now. He had a baby. They call him Cinco. Anyway, he says downloads from up above. Do you have those ever? Like unmistakable ones where you're like, where it felt like he was calling almost for us to talk about this morning, about purpose and about where we take our cues from. This is essentially a business that we're trying to get off the ground, and we keep, meeting with people, advisors and mentors. And I felt like if I could just be still enough to really, really let him take control. I was thinking that's hard. It's hard in your life, but I believe that these good stuff stories, the best ones happen to be the God stuff stories. And so we just had that moment where we're like, the downloads, be listening, right?
I joke, you all have heard me joke with Donnie that you're an EF1 tornado. Okay. The EF5 is the highest. That's the deadly, most destructive. The EF1 is the lowest grade tornado. It's not destructive. It just moves a lot. It's fast. And you definitely notice when it comes in the neighborhood, so that's what Donnie's like. But I joke about that. But also what I marvel at, one of the many things I marvel at about you is when you do get anxious, it all comes out in words. I mean, she can verbalize all of it, and it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes until it's done. And then, and so
downloads. She
learns from it. I learn from it. I think it's very cleansing. It's just like science watching you in action, and it's very cleansing. And then the next thing you know, she's whistling and listening to music and doing her hair in the bathroom, and I mean, it seems to be very helpful to you.
It felt like though to me because it was early. And I was thinking, we talk about being kingdom builders and people who believe in what we're doing. And if you remember the commercial, again, back to donuts. If you remember the commercial, I think from the 80s, it's old, where the donut guy has to be incognito to go see the competition. And he's like, time to make the donuts.
Yeah, he has a mustache.
Because he's like, do you have fresh donuts? Like he's incognito, dressed like I felt like, you build the kingdom?
So step back.
Time to build the kingdom.
So step back a second. Okay. Donnie's doing the impersonation of him going, time to make the donuts. Time to make the donuts.
Time to build the kingdom.
And then she goes, time to build the kingdom. Time to build the kingdom. Time to build the kingdom.
He has no idea why. He goes, what are you doing?
Why is it was kind of dim. The light was kind of dim in the room. I go, why is your hand up at your face? And she goes, oh, that's the mustache. Remember that the guy had.
So we are more inspired than ever today. And appropriately enough, this is our 21st best part of waking up. So we started season 2 officially today. And we have a new format again. You're going to hear about the podcast that's coming up. And we should say, if you're listening to this in podcast form and you want to see the video of it, you could go to thegoodstufffamily.com, and we have links for this very video stream that you find on YouTube and Facebook. So just to be clear, if you're listening and you want to see.
Producer Travi is going to talk in your ear for just a second.
Okay.
Do you want to show the video of your mom going absolutely delicious?
No, we showed last week was the day
It's short.
of my mom's funeral, Friday. Wow, it's been a week.
Mhm.
And she loved Culver's ice cream. That was her favorite. In fact, we had it that day. She and I, hours before she passed, I dropped her off. An hour and a half later, she passed peacefully.
With Culver's in her tummy.
I mean, like, you can't script that. Like, if she could have scripted it, it would have been like that. And
one of Don's longtime friends called last night and said, "I'm so sorry to hear about your mom." And Don goes, "Yeah, she died with Culver's in her stomach. And as a matter of fact, I'm eating Culver's as we speak right now."
I had a hankering all day long.
Yeah.
So I figured we had to honor her.
Yeah, we went to one here in Jefferson City, and yep.
This best part of waking up brought to you by
Culver's.
Culver's. Really, it's not. Okay, but so here's the funny thing. Maybe you can weigh in on this.
Culver's, that was a freebie. That's your last one. I bet it won't be, actually.
Because my Auntie Babs and her best friend Linda knew her better than anyone. And we're really, like they say, I'll have my people call your people. Those two are my mom's people, still advocating for her and working on her behalf. But they knew how much she loved Culver's. So after the viewing, or the wake, Friday morning before we went to the funeral, and we met at the funeral home right before that hard part where, it's literally the last time you're going to see her, but to be absent of the bodies, to be present with the Lord. We know that. But still, I look at my aunt. Guess what she put in, you guys? Empty Culver's cup. Here she is in her nice red silk shirt. An empty Culver's cup, and what, two other things? Tell them.
A Dr. Pepper Zero Cherry and an open bag of Cheetos Paws. Amazing. I mean, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. The junk food, we know where
and listen, there's the laugh.
We know where the junk food gene came from.
Papa literally went to rest with snacks. And my aunt we're all cut from the same cloth. It was hilarious. And I know my mom was like,
that you can eat the diet she eats and look like this. I mean,
well,
the Oreos, the ice cream.
It's catching up, and look at it's not being faithful to our bodies. Let's just be honest. So we're gonna start the juicing next week. When you see us, you will hardly even recognize us. It's supposed to be good for the skin, and
yeah, although I think they said 30 days.
Okay, well,
30 days from when
that seems like a long time
30
to be
days
juicing.
From when we buy the blender and start using the blender.
All right.
Okay. So the clock does not start right now.
Does anyone have any juicing tips? Come on. And you know what? If you don't, I might have to take that as a sign. These are some of my favorite people. I'm eating more veggies and fruits. Okay, Jan. Oh, and Kellyanne juices. And her husband, David, is a fantastic cook and chef. It's the only veggies I can get Sarah to eat and drink. Okay. Why not? So we'll be called. I imagine if you put pineapple in, probably makes everything taste better. Something about drinking green stuff. I don't know. Anyway, what else should we talk about? We had a little list here. What else do you guys want to talk about? What's coming up this week? We could also talk about Sarah Jane, who already ran. Mm-hmm. That was last Monday. That's right.
Mondays. You wanted to touch on her, right?
I do for sure. But do you guys have anything you want to talk about? I'll send you a link for recipes. Thank you, Kellyanne. Together we can. Together we will drink green things.
Jackie's feeling it. She speaks our language. I'm the junk food gal, she says.
Yeah, and she's skinny. Super skinny.
We don't like you.
Yeah, well, she's a model.
We do love you.
Of course, what's the matter with you? We love you. Ohio Fashion Week, they're in the big planning stages already of that. That is huge. That's a labor of love with her mama. Speaking of mamas we love so much. And you'll hear that story actually on September 4th. That's a big long tease ahead, but that's when we're going to tell their story. But do you guys have anything else? Again, there are more people watching than are commenting. Do you have anything to say? But please make it nice. Is Rich is probably back in class now, but if you want to think about any kind of tips you have, I wanted you also just to and be conscious of time is also what we're going to start doing. This is a half hour now, so we'll wrap it up a little sooner to be respectful of your time. But if you get a minute, if you could check out on our YouTube page, the Sarah Jane Walsh story. Ooh. I mean, listen, let's just be honest. I say that because these people, I'm telling you, they are inspiration personified because of what she's been through. It's because of the darkest place she was that she now makes thousands of videos completely free for families who have kids who are really, we say warrioring. It's such a cliche word. Sometimes they don't want to be the mom of warriors. You know what? It sucks. Let's just call it what it is. When you are by your kid's bedside, and we shared a post on the Good Stuff page, a very candid testimony from a mama. But so what Sarah Jane does is she collects all the pictures from these families and then tells their stories with video testimonials and shares them. So not only is she uplifting that family, she shines a light on whatever cause they're championing for like these brain tumors, and Ewing sarcoma, which is this terrible bone cancer that is really hard to treat in kids. And so she has such a purpose-driven life that if you would have asked her a few years ago, and you can watch and see her story, she thought she had zero purpose, and she was in a really dark place. And she's very candid about it. So that's the other part of these stories, including my own, being vulnerable. It's kind of a boutique word to be vulnerable. And close friends are like, let's not be too vulnerable. It's the truth, though. We're all in this together, and the more candid we can talk about things that we need to get through, the better we get through them together, I do believe. Travis, like, sorry, I talk a lot.
Truth.
Yeah.
No, it was a really good story with Sarah. I mean, she was really at a very, very low point, and helping out these families and telling their stories was what saved her.
Yep, that's it.
Could almost say saved her life.
You took the words right out of my mouth. She credits them because it's called the Here's Hope Project, if you want to look it up, because hope is everything, as Mindy Lee. So thank you for spending time with us, you guys, our family. And if you would share as much as you can and subscribe, because we're going to build this. We're going to build it limb by limb, branch by branch.
I'm going to leave it to you. I'm going to hit the elevator button. Okay. And I'll see everybody next time.
Oh my God. Okay. Thanks, producer Travi. I think one more time I want to show before we end. I want to just show quickly our awesome new friend. And this, you're going to start seeing everyone who's watching, Kelly, Jackie, the people who we have already spoken to about their good sis stories. We're going to ask you to record this very same thing that our friend Donovan said. And we're going to edit them all together as kind of a testimonial. Here we go.
I'm Donovan Laird from Central Missouri, working to see the good, be the good. On your mark, get set, let's go!
That's the enthusiasm we go into the weekend with. I pledge that we go into the rest of our lives. On your mark, get set, let's go. See the good and be the good. It's not hard. It's not hard. It can be super easy. You just pledge to do it. And so thank you again, my friends. I love you. And I mean it when I say that. I love you. And I'm so grateful for all of you. God bless. This has been a Grassroots Good Stuff family production. Big love and gratitude to our friend Carlos Jones, who is the talented voice and creator behind this music that sets the tone for these good stuff stories. Huge gratitude and love as well for our social media director. She is Danielle Folk and is consistently going above and beyond. Follow her at Farmhouse Storyteller. And to the producer, My Travi, the glue that holds together the moving parts of this God-inspired endeavor. TheGoodStuffFamily.com is where you'll find links for all the things we're doing, including how to be a sponsor of a story. So grateful for our faithful sponsors who have already made so much of what we do possible. And of course, big love and gratitude for you, the listeners, helping to grow this Good Stuff family tree 2023. Welcome to the family.